Hey everybody, Ray Pastor here, and today we are going to review TP-Link Deco AX3600, which is also the X, it's called the X68. Why they have multiple names for it, I have no idea, but they do. So we're going to review this. It's a tri-band mesh Wi-Fi 6 internet system. All right, you ready for the review? Let's go. Okay, so the reason that I wanted to upgrade my system, I had an old dual band Wi-Fi unit from Netgear or something like that. It was just about like 6 or 7 years old. I just moved into a new place and I had to, basically I have to have wired internet into my gaming machine because I got to be playing games and doing stuff like that all the time. And the problem that I ran into is that my office is like in the one corner of the house, and in the other corner of the house on the first floor, my office is on the second floor in one corner, which is my bedroom and living room. I was getting zero Wi-Fi. Like I could barely get it on the TV in the living room. Sometimes in the bedroom, I got zero. Couldn't use the TV. My wife's Peloton's in there. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't use my phone unless it was on LTE. So I did a bunch of research. I wanted tri-band mesh system with Wi-Fi 6. This is the system that I found that had the features that I wanted and was the least expensive. Other systems that were comparable were like $100 to $300 more. So I paid $250 for this on Amazon. I actually had a coupon, so I got it for a little less than that. But it's the Deco X68 tri-band mesh with Wi-Fi 6. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the speeds. Let's talk about setting it up and all the good stuff. So first of all, it says on the box it's made for a 3 to 5 bedroom house up to 5,500 square feet. A 5,500 square foot house is monstrous. So I needed it for a house that was 2 floors, and my house is just over 3,000 some square feet. So it's like 3,000 something. So I needed it to cover that. And here's the other thing. I needed wired internet in my office, but the rest of the house, if I was getting any internet, like 20 megabits per second or better, I'd be happy with that. Now I pay for 400 megabits. So that's what I pay for from cable. So I have cable internet with 100 or 400. All right, so let's talk about the device, setting it up, and what I think about it now that I've had it for a couple days. I also did some tests where I went outside. All right, let's talk about it. So first of all, you can look at the box here. The device itself looks pretty slick. It's pretty cool. I don't have it because I'm actually using it right now, but I'll put a picture up here. It's actually a really cool looking device, so it doesn't look too bad like somewhere, It's not too high. It's the size a little higher than your phone and round, cylinder. So it's pretty cool looking device. Okay, it comes with 2 of them. And 2 of them was more than enough for my home. As far as setting it up, you unbox it. I probably had it working from the time I opened up the box to having it working was probably less than 5 to 10 minutes. It was really quick. Now keep in mind, I already had my modem set up and already had my cables all ready to go. But it literally took just a minute to hook up. You do have to use their phone app. So one disadvantage is there is no web presence. You have to use a phone app. I didn't think that was a big deal, but I did see some people not like that. I didn't find it a big deal. You do have to create a TP-Link account, which again, I didn't really care about either way, but some people didn't like that. I thought maybe it's good for security purposes, and some people didn't like that, but yeah, I thought that was fine. So it literally took me a minute. And then there are some options in the app. You pick basically the settings that you specifically want. And we're going to talk about some of those settings, what I like and don't like about the device. All right, then I went downstairs in my living room, plug in the next device, and I don't even need to do anything. It just automatically recognizes my network and boom, hooked up. So I got Wi-Fi in the house. So now the one thing about the devices, so each device has 2 Ethernet ports in the back. So the first one in my office is plugged into my modem, and then it's plugged into my computer. So there's no extra ones upstairs if I do need to plug in. Now downstairs, there's 2 devices if I need to plug in. Okay, now keep in mind, this isn't an extender. These are both routers. This isn't like a mesh network where you have a router and multiple extenders. These were 2 routers. So I just wanted to clarify that as well. Okay, cool. So we're set up, right? Now let's talk about some of the things I've noticed. I've had this about a week now. Let's talk about some of the things I've noticed and what I like and dislike about the system. So as I said, setting it up was easy. I felt it was pricey at $250, but it's still a good, not a terrible price compared to like the $500 ones. If you're looking at like Wi-Fi 6E, I don't think we're there yet price-wise, so I'm holding off on that. So anyway, all right. So tri-band Wi-Fi 6. I mean, that was my goal. Okay, so let's talk about it. So first of all, I tested all around my house. In my office, which is where the main one is connected to the modem, on my phone, I'm getting 400 megabits per second. So on my phone, in my office, 400 megabits per second. If I walk down to my son's room, which is all the way at the end of the hall, I'm looking at around like just under 200 megabits per second. If I go downstairs in the living room where I was getting none, remember the bedroom and living room, I was getting no service before, 0. And that's where the second router is connected. I'm again getting about like 150 to 200 megabits per second. So I'm not getting the full 400 when I'm at the second router. I'm not getting it, but I'm still getting 200 megabits per second. I mean, it's still awesome. That's great. I'm just letting you know that I'm only getting half of what I get when I come upstairs next to the main one plugged into the modem. Okay, so that was my test of speed in the house. So I get speed everywhere in the house. It's very much acceptable. It's very good. Then I went outside to do some tests about the distance. Here's what I found. Hey, what's up everybody? We're at the end of my driveway. This is about the end of where I can get internet connection. So we're outside my house about 50 yards and I can get around 100 megabits per second right there. But then as soon as I step about 3 feet away, it breaks off. So now let's head to the back. All right, so I'm in the backyard of my house. You can see like back by the trees, you can see how far I am away from my house. And this is the limit of internet here. I'm out here, I'm only getting about 6 megabits per second out in the backyard. Okay, so as you can see from my backyard and front yard tests, I can go about, in my front yard, I went about to the end of my driveway, about 50 yards out, and I was getting pretty good, like over decent service. Then I go in the backyard, I could only go about 20 yards out in the backyard, but I was still getting service out there. So I do think that this probably would cover that, you know, they say they 5,500 square foot house. I think they're probably pretty accurate because it would probably cover that. Now, I'm not sure if you have like 3 or 4 stories, like a basement and a 3rd floor, like how that would work out, because I don't have that. We don't have basements where I live, so I can't actually test that out for you. Sorry. There's actually no such thing as basements here. I'm from the Northeast, so they have basements there, none down south. Go figure. What do I know? All right. So that's that. So it's working well. Now let's talk about some of the things that I find odd. So I like the system overall. I think it's good. It's great. It does what I want. Now, if you're really into like Wi-Fi and tech and different things, this is where I thought the system was lacking a little bit. So first of all, it's a tri-band mesh network, which means there's 3 channels. There's the 2.5 gigahertz and 2 5 gigahertz channels. But the thing that I find odd, I think this is odd, I think I should be able to change this, is you can't actually pick which network you're on. It automatically chooses for you, which they call like some AI system. And I think that that is great for like 95% of people who just need a mesh network to work. And actually it's fine for me too. That's okay. But I would like the option to set up like a separate 5 gigahertz channel for like certain devices of mine. Or if you have devices that can only work on like 1 channel or something, you can't really keep them that separated. And so I did not like that feature. The fact that you can't separate those channels is a little odd. I just thought it was a little odd. I get they're trying to make it easy, but it needs to be optionally easy. I think it could be by default set up like that, but there needs to be an option for those of us that want to change it, because I would 100% have changed that. And I thought that was weird at first. I thought like maybe there was an option I was missing or it was defective. So I did think that was a very strange design choice for them as the only option. There was a workaround that I read online where someone said you can create a guest network and then like create the guest network to have just one of those channels, but I think that's a pretty bad workaround to have to do that. And the fact that I have to look it up and couldn't just find it really quick and easy on the app, I didn't really like. So that was my personal only big complaint with the system, is that I can't switch around those multiple channels. But, you know, the things other people complained about is they didn't like having to set up an account. I didn't think that was a big deal. And people also complained about the fact that it's only an app, not on the web. I don't really care about that. I actually thought the app maybe was easier than the web. I didn't have to like type anything in. I just open up the app right away and I can control my Wi-Fi, like all the settings. But I think having the option to have both, especially for a big company like TP-Link, which, you know, sells tons and tons of this kind of stuff, yeah, it should really have that. The other thing it does have is it does come with Home Shield, but it's like a service you have to pay for. There are some slight free things about it, but if you want like the security and stuff, you'd have to pay for that. And I wasn't thrilled about that idea, but I use my own anyway, so I don't care. That's not something that concerns me whatsoever. And I think for most home users, they probably wouldn't even set anything like that up or know why they need it. So I don't think they're going to care. But if that's a concern to you, that could be a big issue as well. That whatever system you purchase comes with a free, you know, security monitoring system. So that's my review of the system. You know, it was super easy to set up. System looks nice. Price, and with the features, you know, I wanted the tri-band, I wanted Wi-Fi 6, so I was happy with that. System looks good. System works perfectly in a 3,000 some square foot house, and definitely bigger because it worked outside for me. So it definitely covered the rooms that I was getting no service in. So it does work. You know, it does do what it said it was going to do. Those speeds, the speeds next to the router that's connected to the modem were what I'm paying for from cable. The speeds next to the other router were about half of it. And that's going to vary based on your house and everything. But keep in mind, I was getting 0. I couldn't connect in the room, that I'm now getting 200 megabytes per second, which is pretty darn good. I don't know if you're watching this video in like 4 years from now, you're going to be like, that's nothing. You need at least like, you know, whatever, like gigabytes and stuff, or whatever you need in 4 years from now. You're going to laugh at that, the 200 megabits per second. But no, it's pretty respectable right now. That's a great speed. So, you know, and the complaints were that you can't switch between the systems by yourself. It has like an AI thing that does it, and you don't know which of the channels you're actually on, which is probably good for most home users, not great for someone like me that really cares about that. And yeah, that's it. Overall, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm happy with it. I think it's a good system probably for me to have for the next 3 to 5 years before I decide to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6E. And yeah, that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of mesh system you have or you ended up with, or what you think of this. All right, later all.